A 9-year-old calling his classmates to prayer. He's not in Egypt, Iran or Saudi Arabia, but in a suburb of Sydney. Aussie kids, all of them, but Muslims as well.
And do you think that in this country you'd get a higher standard of living than...
I don't know, because this is the first time I come to this country.
And you haven't troubled to find out, particularly?
I think so, if I want to stay here. If I want to stay. But you excuse me, because I am not good English, because I leave this school before 24 years.
So my father came in the late 60s, and I was born and raised here. We grew up here, and alhamdulillah, we grew up within a Muslim household. Obviously, my parents became more practicing as they got older. We were very fortunate to grow up in Punchbowl, then Lakemba, and you know, those areas are areas with a lot of Muslims, a lot less back then. We've seen the Muslim community grow. We've seen the infrastructure of the Muslim community evolve.
Down the road from Greenacre, in the next door suburb of Lakemba, Muslims come to pray on their holy day, Friday.
My generation, who are born and raised in Australia, we struggled to connect with religious leaders and imams who spoke our language and understood our mindset. So I thought that it's time for someone to initiate this. I finished year 10 and then I decided to go overseas. I was 8 years overseas, 2 years in Pakistan and 6 years in Syria. And there were beautiful times, but there were tough times. And during that journey, I've always had that thought, what I'm going to do with this knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with while I was overseas for 8 years, coming back to Australia, what am I going to do with it? I saw the need of someone who's born and raised in Australia to engage and connect with those who are born and raised in Australia. So the very first people that I connected to are friends from school. And alhamdulillah, we started a movement at that time. We used to refer to it as a movement.
If I didn't come across the UMA back then, you know what, Allah subhanAllah, Allahu alam, where I would be, where I would be today. It's definitely going down the wrong path.
Let's go, take off his badge and his gun and we'll fight.
They came from that background themselves, so they understood the appeal of that sort of life. They didn't speak down at us, and they really, you know, appealed to that younger generation.
The concept of having a youth center where Muslim youth come together just for the sake of youth activities, youth programs to play, it didn't exist. That didn't mean that our parents or the first generation didn't care about it. They had limitation and understanding how to deal with the next generation, and we'll see that. So 2002, it was the establishment of the first youth Islamic center in the country, and that was in Lakemba. So we've seen the changes in the last 2 decades, and alhamdulillah, the UMA as an organization, as a center, had evolved from a little small center in Lakemba into this large center now in Padstow, and it's going from growth to growth.
It's very good for the youth. I guess it strengthens your iman.
The brotherhood, the feeling you get here, all the friendly people, it's just a place where my heart belongs. The common issues, especially in the West, is obviously being a minority. We get targeted and people misunderstand what Islam is.
For an outsider to understand why a Muslim can put a scarf or should put a scarf on.
But I as a Muslim don't want to be tolerated. I want to be understood and accepted for what I am.
Why don't they live in their own country if that's what they want? Nobody wants them.
No one wants them here?
No, they don't.
We don't need these Lebanese. They're taken away from us.
Usually migrant communities do go through that phase where they face challenges, but what the Muslim community had faced is more than any other community.
I'm just here to have fun, have a swim and go home, and that's it.
We are blocked. We are outcasts in this society.
It sometimes puts a lot of pressure for you to be a visible Muslim. I feel sorry for those who struggle to come out in the public to be a Muslim, whether through their hijab or through their bead or through their prayers or through their names.
Their religion concerns me because what it says in the Quran, you know, you say, oh, well, there's good Muslims out there. Well, I'm sorry. How can you tell me there are good Muslims?
And we're talking about a Muslim community that's Australian like every other Australian. We are talking about the second and third and now fourth Muslim generation that's born and raised in Australia. They have no place for them to call their home except Australia. And they are facing this isolation, they are facing this marginalisation. And I saw that firsthand. A lot of people have this impression that Islam has only been in Australia for the last 50 years. Islam has been here for more than 200 years. One of the most beautiful road trips I've been on is a trip to Murray. Murray is 700 kilometers north of Adelaide. It's in the heart of the desert. It's a little town that has about 70 homes there, but there's something different about it, something really significant. We came here to visit the first masjid to be established here in Australia more than 160 years ago in the 1800s. But what struck me most is when I visited the graveyard. We saw graves of Muslims with Muslim names buried under the name of Islam from 1890, 1895. We're talking about Muslims who have been buried there for more than 150 years. But where's the Muslims now? I started to ask around, and unfortunately I couldn't find one Muslim household there. I met some of their offsprings. I sat down with them, and they identified themselves as Afghanis. They do not identify themselves as Muslims. And wallahi, I was just heartbroken to see that these are the descendants of Muslims that are third and fourth generation, and some of them are elderly people. And you ask yourself, why? Like, why aren't you a Muslim?
What don't I want to see? Man, I definitely don't want to see the youth going down the wrong path, man. Definitely don't want that. You know, I see now, especially now, I guess with the age of social media, you see a lot of our kids looking up to people that shouldn't be looked up to. And I really, you know, you really fear for that, and you want to counteract that. So you want to have a place to be able to counteract that, man.
I strongly believe why the children of the Afghan Kamalis and their descendants had lost their faith. Not because their grandparents or parents didn't want them to be practicing Muslim. I have no doubt they've tried their best to make sure that their children and the children of children will continue to preserve Islam. And I can't change history, but I want to make sure that the future is changed for our generation and the generations to come. I want to make sure that our children and the children of our children will never experience what the children of the Afghanis who came over 150 years ago had experienced. The Muslim community is the fastest growing community here in Australia. Every 11, 12 years, we literally double in numbers. And one of the biggest challenges that we'll be facing in the next 5 to 10 years is that we're going to see a large number of Australian-born Muslims with a very small number of Australian-born imams and religious leaders who can cater to this generation.
It's important for everyone, you know. I believe that, especially the youth, getting closer to their Lord, and also it's the next generation, you know. We have to be something that our parents are proud of, you know.
We need a place for our youth to go. We need the next generation to learn and to carry the flag.
Right now we only have two options: bring imams from overseas, that has challenges; send imams overseas, and that's what I've done, and that also has challenges.
Alhamdulillah, we started with the first establishment of the UMA Center here in Padstow. We've already outgrown the place, and now alhamdulillah we moved to the next infrastructure and establishment of the future project of the UMA. 2 basements for car park for more than 300 cars, a masjid that will fit thousands of people, and an education facility with the first Islamic university, higher education provider, to start producing homegrown imams and religious leaders for your children and the children of your children. Religious leaders that will teach them their faith and continue to connect them to Islam and the practices of Islam.
The UMA has given me a lot of opportunity. It's given me a lot of new relations with brotherhood here.
I've been at the UMA for so long. I know so many of the brothers here. I know that they're good brothers. Just you don't get to see that from a lot of other places.
Inshallah, we hope that we'll open this center by the end of 2027. We're not far off. We are nearly there. Through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help and your help second, inshallah we'll get there. And it's an opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you and I to be part of this for now and for the future. And the greater future is when we enter the Jannah bi'idhnillahi ta'ala because of our sacrifice and support to such noble projects like this project.
I think the UMA is opportunity.
I would say the UMA is life-changing.